Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the first session of the day. This is the Renovation Wave stream, where we are going to present two ELENA-funded projects. One is energy efficiency loans for buildings in Poland by Alior Bank, and the other one is energy efficient refurbishment of multi-family apartment buildings in the city of Jelgava, Latvia. ELENA is a program funded by the European Commission and managed by the European Investment Bank. My name is Asen Gasharov at the European Investment Bank. I work as a senior expert on ELENA, and we are going to hear two very interesting presentations. Thank you for joining us. Please feel free to ask questions in the chat box that we will read out at the end of the session, but not before that. Just to mention that ELENA is a grant program that supports the preparation of large-scale investment programs in energy efficiency. And we're very proud to showcase these two projects. Now, I would like to pass the floor to Eva Mateka, a director at Alior Bank, to present their project. Please.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Eva Małecka, exactly. But I know there is a problem with pronouncing our Polish surnames. I'm the head of the business product department in Alior Bank. With me is also today Anna Nikodemska-Minota, a manager of a business team, a product manager. And together we would like to talk about how ELENA funds help us develop and implement a credit strategy for financing and modernization building. So let's get to our next slide, please. That's our agenda. Firstly, I would like to tell you some information about the bank, and then we will tell more about our offer. And finally, we would like to show you a process of acquiring and implementing ELENA funds in our bank. So let's go to the next slide, please, and the next one. Thank you. Alior Bank is a Polish institution. We are the part of large financial institution in Poland and in Central and Eastern Europe. As a universal bank, we address our services to both individual and business customers. In our day-to-day activities, we combine principle of traditional banking with the innovative solution through which we systematically strengthen our market position and setting a new direction for development of the Polish banking sector. The highest quality of our services brought us a recognition of trust over 4 million individual customers and over 180,000 business customers, which includes housing communities as well. Individual approach of needs and expectation of companies makes us that we provide services for over 2 million, over 1,000 housing communities. Our brand is one of the most recognizable among customers. Let's go to the next slide, please. Awards that we got only in this year testify to our quality. I would like to attract your attention to the one particular one in the middle. This is an award for the best quality of the service in our branch in the Institution of the Year competition. Let's go to another one, please. Next slide. I would like to tell you about our approach as well. So every day we strive to be more than a bank. It's not only our strategy, but also our approach. Be more than a bank, we understand to be beyond financial services, for example, by integration with our partner. We are every day we are trying to give our customers value-added services like bookkeeping for micro companies, which is integrated with our banking application, or like cashless payments. But also we constantly develop to provide more and more attractive products for our customers in a very user-friendly way. We also support green transformation on the Polish market. That's why we decided to introduce new product and to start financing housing sector, which was we started with the help of course, ELENA funds. Let's go to the next slide, please. Thank you. Before Anna will explain us a path that we have passed to get ELENA funds and the details of the offer, before that, I would like to emphasize that our offer has been tailored to the very specific needs of housing communities. By housing community, we understand legal registered building association. That is why we decided to implement in our bank a special loans similar to the investment credit, but only for housing communities. Thank you.
Thank you, Eva. Welcome, everyone. First, I tell you about process of implementation of energy efficiency loans at the bank. The first operating agreement was concluded with Bank Gospodarstwa Krajowego in 2017. We started financing thermomodernization in Łódzkie region. Currently, Alior Bank is a financial intermediary in 6 regions. We are actively selling loans in 4, and in another 2, the product will be launched in June this year. The next step in the process was establishing cooperation with the European Investment Bank and concluding an ELENA grant agreement. The funds from ELENA enabled the bank to build a competence center. The bank employed 4 experts in thermomodernization who are active in the regions. The funds from ELENA also enabled the bank to participate in many events, for example, conferences and forums. Based on the experience gained, we are constantly working on the optimization of the loan granting process, and we adapt our formal requirements to the possibilities our clients and the changing environment, for example, pandemic time. Later this year, we plan to prepare other credit and deposit products for our clients to complete the current offer, because it happens that our clients need traditional investment financing. We must complete the implementation of the agreements by mid-2023. Next slide, please. Financing renovation in the housing sector is on the one of the pillars our strategy that includes supporting the green transformation. Purpose of financing is deep energy modernization of multi-family residential buildings, together with replacement of energy efficiency equipment. Energy efficiency loans are financing from the regional operational program for the year from 2014 to 2020 of the following provinces: Lower Silesia, Łódzkie, Podlaskie, Lesser Poland, Pomerania, and Kujawia-Pomerania. and Alior Bank's own resources. Energy efficiency loans are granted by Alior Bank, acting as the so-called financial intermediary on the basis of agreements concluded with Bank Gospodarstwa Krajowego and European Investment Bank, and based on the Banking Law Act. The next slide, please. Most important is that with financing an investment located in one of 6 provinces. The financed investment will contribute to the increase of the energy efficiency of the building by at least 25%. An investment compliant with the low emission economy plan for a given area. The next slide, please.
So let's have a look on the process of implementation and acquiring of ELENA funds. We started our pre-application in 2018. It took us almost 1 year to implement a product to our bank. We signed the agreement between Alior Bank and the European Investment Bank in 2019, but before that, we were preparing our bank to develop a new product. So we decided to prepare a new distribution model, to hire experts to sell it, and we implement internal regulation in our bank as well, only for this very specific product with, of course, grant from ELENA funds. Next one, please.
Thanks to ELENA's funds, we can finance 90% of the cost of employing regional experts, the cost of marketing activities undertaken as a part of the promotion of products intended for thermomodernization, and the cost of the necessary activities, for example, cooperation with the National Energy Conservation Agency, which supports the bank in various technical issues related to thermomodernization. And the most important thing is that thanks to the funds from ELENA, we can refinance our clients 90% of the costs of technical documentation that they have to prepare in order to be able to carry out investments and apply for financing. Many clients have already used from reimbursement. On the next slide, thank you. On the next slide, you can see information about promotional activities. For example, we cooperated with regional organizations, associating stakeholders and investors. Next slide, please. On the next 3 slides, you can see some of the completed investment financed by Alior Bank, one of which from 3 regions. The implementation of thermomodernization in the buildings, to shown in the slides, not only brought the effect of energy savings of buildings at the level of 30 to 60%, but also greatly improved the appearance. For residents, this means lower operating costs as well as higher living comfort. So far, over 3 years, we have financed over 160 investments for a total amount of 90 million zloty, it around about 20 million euro.
On the next slide, we see a building built over 100 years ago. We would all agree it's more pleasant to the eye after the renovation and modernization from the outside as well. Next slide, please. As you can see, the buildings on the slide are very in a very in very poor condition. After the modernization, not only technical condition change, but also it becomes visually attractive. Definitely, they are more pleasant to the eye and to the local community as well. Thank you. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for your attention and have a good day.
Thank you very much, Eva and Anna. This was a very interesting and useful presentation, and I'm sure there will be questions at the end of the session. Now I would like to pass the floor to our second presenter. This is Marianne Mayton, a senior energy consultant at Banks & Company, who supports the ELENA project in Jelgava, Latvia. Over to you, Marianne.
Yes, and I will also unmute myself. Good morning, everyone. As said, I'm Mari Mayton. I'm from Banks & Company. But today I'll be representing here Jelgava Municipal Maintenance Company, JENIP, who I'm supporting in their ELENA implementation program. And in addition, this presentation has been made in collaboration with another Jelgava partner, EVO, with Knut Höller. EVO is a German NGO that brings together private and public partners from Germany and many other countries with the common goal to support market-based, sustainable development of the housing and building sector in Eastern Europe. And today I will be telling you mostly about Latvian housing situation, because this ELENA program just started, well, 6 months ago, but still for us it's just started. And about JENIP aims in Latvia and how they would what's their approach of making sure that more houses in Latvia would be renovated in the future. But before getting started, also a few words about JENIP background. JENIP is the largest home management company in the city of Jelgava, Latvia. It was established in 1998. They have around 400 residential buildings under their management, which equals roughly 15,000 apartments. And their core business until today was carrying out maintenance work, monitoring water, heat consumption, processing utility bills, etc. And they are also a registered financial intermediary and can officially assist homeowners and housing associations with applying for loans and grants. And this latter provided JENIP an opportunity that they are using now in this ELENA process. Few pictures. You saw also from the previous presentation some nice pictures of typical post-Soviet buildings, but here also, for those who don't know where our Baltics are, a brief indication where Jelgava is located. So a few words about the ELENA. As said, JENIP is the largest building maintenance company in the city of Jelgava. And they are also the only organization in the municipality that has the most frequent and regular communication with the building occupants. And therefore they are in the position to facilitate both decision-making process and actual implementation of building retrofits. Nonetheless, until today, this was not their business as usual activity. And this is for the reason JENIP applied for ELENA support. Their main aim in coming 3 years is via the ELENA accelerate the retrofitting of building and bring up the quality as well. So they are hoping to overcome a range of technical and financial challenges while increasing their own operational capacity, training more building retrofit managers that also later could potentially go to the rest of the Latvian market. How are today the buildings in Latvia or many other Baltic states? Well, I'm Estonian, so I'm very familiar also with the neighboring country. The available housing stock in Latvia is rapidly aging and depreciating. This is pointed out by the Association of Management and Administration of Latvian Housing. And they state that the originally projected lifespan of some construction series has been already reached. The type buildings, typical 1950s, 1960s, the so-called Khrushchevskas and Brezhnevskas are technically morally worn out. And it's also important to mention that most of the Latvian buildings were built during Soviet periods, so roughly 51% up. And these buildings are mostly industrially prefabricated, construction in various typical building series. And they were constructed before thermal requirements were significantly increased, which means they have a very low energy efficiency. And it is assumed that by 2050, due to the age of those buildings, 30% actually, they cannot be even renovated. So it needs to happen now, the retrofit process in Latvia. And also worrying is that the renovation rate is still low. It's around 1%, even though a lot of efforts has been made in the past decade. On the map, you see the current energy labels of Jelgava multifamily buildings. As you can see, they're mostly E or F standard. A standard renovation typically in Latvia goes up to C label, but we will try to be more ambitious, go to at least to B label or up to near zero energy buildings if we can, using a serial refurbishment approach. But we'll see how this plays out. In next slide, there's a brief explanation how renovation process happens in Latvia, because that's also quite of a long journey. The renovation process starts with getting the initial agreements from homeowners, and that means homeowners in the multifamily buildings where you have flats from homeowners varying from number of 25 to 200. In Jelgava, the average is 49 apartments per building. And for starting the process, JENIP would need to convince 51% of homeowners to even start thinking, let's do the technical documentation, let's apply for Altum support, and let's apply for a loan to retrofit this building. And JENIP then helps them with the technical documentation. They start the implementation process on their behalf, and they also prepare the loan and grant application for Altum. And later, once the grant has been granted and the loan has been given, the contract works will be procured, and financing agreements will be signed between JENIP and the construction company. And afterwards, JENIP will also collect the payments for paying back the loan to the bank. So they have a huge role in over 20 years of the lifespan of the whole process, let's say. Maybe also briefly, I already mentioned, but consensus building is very important and can be very time-consuming process. Up to 90% of dwellings in Latvia are privately owned. The majority vote is almost always required. And although you can start the process with 51% of votes, banks have, again, different kind of requirements. So sometimes up to 75% of an agreement is needed from the bank side to give out the rest of the loan. So part of the renovation is supported by European structural funds through Altum and the state, and other part then from the loan. And these loans can be pretty high, anywhere between, starting maybe 50,000, but up to €1 million. So you can imagine that that might be a scary number if you're just owning a small apartment. And ideally, the financing then for the loan would be made from the decreased payment back from your energy bill. As so far, let's say the private actors in the refurbishment of multifamily buildings have not been working very well, so there are not so many ESCOs or other models at the moment on the table. Very briefly on current renovation costs, these are probably old numbers already. So this is just a typical example of building type 104. There are many of those 104 buildings in Jelgava built before 1992 and between Second World War. Overall, we are planning 52 buildings to be renovated under the ELENA for a total investment around 26 million. That equals around 100,000 square meters. And average price of refurbishment will be anywhere between 200 to 400 euros per square meter. And mostly this goes to energy efficiency measures alone. But the prices will probably go up. They go up every year. The higher demand, the pricier the refurbishment. That is why we are also going to look into zero refurbishment. This is quite new still in Baltics. To my knowledge, there are 2-3 buildings that have been so far renovated using this process. And JENIP wants to be also a pioneer in this aspect. So they are planning to refurbish their stock of Soviet area condominiums by specifying product types, sizes that can be ordered in bulk from manufacturers. We'll start this process conversation later this year. We will start conversation probably with both the Estonian sides, with Germans, the manufacturer side. So this takes a bit of time. And maybe a few words, why is zero refurbishment approach important? Well, today's renovations in Baltics last quite long. There are problems with construction site moisture, problems with the end result quality of construction and during construction works. And the biggest problem is that when the demand grows, so when we are able to accelerate that there are more retrofits happening, the prices will go also up. And all those projects are right now, let's say, handcrafted. Those, if we use zero refurbishment, we'd be able to, through the economy scale, keep the price down. Also, systematic approach should increase quality, and shorter construction time will impact less habitants because most people don't have anywhere to go during renovations. So yes, JENIP aims to be one of the pioneers in Baltics to get this also moving. Maybe, well, we already know probably about the EIB, few facts. ELENA is a technical assistance for preparing large-scale energy renovation investments from 30 million to 400 million over a 3-year period. And it covers costs related to feasibility study, energy audits, business plans, etc. And under this ELENA, maybe already mentioned, but JENIP is aiming to multiply their capacity to renovate, so hire more people who go and talk to the homeowners and take them through the process. They hope this will increase the rate that they can take up projects. They are aiming to take into account economies of scale through their serial refurbishment, so they can bring the costs down or at least maintain them in the level they are. And they still want to be play a central role in implementing, organizing, facilitating all stages of the process of renovation and also post. Maybe to sum up, few lessons learned. For JENIP, ELENA is a great facility to increase that capacity. They cannot finance themselves. Yeah, you don't have money to hire more people just out of nothing if you're trying. You don't get paid for renovating yourself. It helps them increase renovation quality, reduce costs by hiring more experts, train more renovation managers, as there is very high demand on market, and big construction companies are often locked into state contracts already. They will also look at alternative long-term financing options and hope to build a steady pipeline to secure serial refurbishment and construction partners to obtain to maintain renovation rate. also maybe some obstacles for us. ELENA is a great facility, lots of personal support from EIB staff in preparation process for JNIP, but at the same time can be lengthy to connect, let's say, the regional, local rules with the EU level rules. Jelgava is a mid-sized town in Latvia, so not maybe familiar with everything Brussels related. Therefore also took time to get local trust and required commitment for EU program. It was, I think it took us 2 years to work out together details and see eye to eye. And last but not least, small country. You heard the 30 million threshold. There also needed to make some changes there because, yeah, we don't have so much capacity to invest to meet the ELENA minimum official requirements. And here a reference. Thank you so much. If you have any question, I'm very happy to answer.
Thank you very much, Maria. Again, another very informative presentation about how it works in practice in a specific country. But I think you've already noticed that there are similarities in these two projects between Poland and Latvia in terms of the building stock, in terms of the challenges of aggregating, organizing people, and then most importantly, securing the financing. I would like to remind all the participants that they can ask questions through the chat box, and thank you to those who already have put questions there. We will start asking them because this is really where I see a lot of value in this exchange. First to Alior Bank, our participants are interested to know a little bit more about the financing arrangements and conditions. For instance, what is the collateral requirement, if any? What is the typical interest rate? And also technical requirements. You actually mentioned a minimum 25% of energy efficiency achieved. If you could confirm that this is a minimum threshold, but what will be the typical, the average that you see in practice? And finally, all of those projects already financed, you mentioned 20 million. Do you see any defaults already? What will be the default rate, people not being able to continue repaying the loans?
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the questions. We don't see any defaults. So it's really a safe credit portfolio for us. That's why we want to develop and implement a new product for housing communities. If it comes to main conditions, interest rates are just zero, plain pure zero. So it's really attractive for our customers. If it comes to the collateral, we don't really need one, but we are when we are trying to analyze the customers, our analyses are based on this is the name in Poland, investment renovation fund. So the housing community is making some savings for investment funds, and that's why we are checking if there is an impossibility to give them a loan, actually.
And for the technical requirements, what is the minimum you expect to achieve as energy efficiency?
It's different in every region, but we can say from 20 to 30%, yeah, of energy efficiency.
Okay, thank you very much. Another question from me at this time is to complement this. To what extent is what is the level of bank financing to each individual project? What is the share of the loan? And is there any government support, government grants to help those buildings, and what is the level or typical level of equity? So owners using their own savings to pay for it.
It's around 500,000 zloty. So it's around 1,000 euro. 100,000 euro.
This is the government support or the loan?
You mean the government support or banks?
No. So if a project costs $1 million for a large building, how much will those owners request as a loan? Is it half of it? Is it more? Are they receiving grants from the government?
In this particular product, Keyword gets 100. If the investment is around, for example, 1 million zlotys, he will get 1 million zloty from the bank.
Okay, so full financing.
Full amount of finance.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is an interesting structure. It means that people would not like to invest their own money, and also the government is not actively supporting this process, although it is in their policy priorities. But it's not for us to discuss this here. I'm turning to Jelgava now with various questions, but starting, and thank you very much, Maria, for mentioning a lot about ELENA and how it works. And the question we see from the audience is, to what extent ELENA can and is helping to organize the homeowners, to motivate them to pursue this kind of projects and to overcome the challenges you mentioned, for instance, the 51% threshold, but maybe even going up to 75% and so on. What is ELENA's role in this?
Well, ELENA technical assistance is the way to go about for our case. We need to hire more locals who can convince homeowners to renovate. It's about personal touch, right? There are local people. There are up to 50 apartments, let's say, in apartment homeowner meeting with 50 people, everybody having different background, situation. Some's not maybe paying their electricity bill already. And yes, this process of finding this consensus among such a big group, that takes a lot of time, which equals money. And money is the one part that we can use to hire more skills, to get our capacity higher, and also train more people, because right now, before ELENA, there were 2 people only dedicated to that. And that can maybe get you 2-3 buildings a year, but you would need to do 10-20 buildings a year. So ELENA really boosts the capacity in our case. But the individual work still has to happen a lot locally.
So it's about acceleration, simply doing more within a more condensed space of time. I was curious about you mentioning that the more renovations happen, the higher the cost of the renovation. So it's almost like counterintuitive. Usually higher demand means lower prices. How would you explain this? Is it because of the supply chain constraints, basically contractors simply taking advantage of the fact that people need it and they have no one else to use?
There are no factories producing windows. There are no there's with some product material that you cannot get almost access to. The markets are so small. There are, let's say, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, you have your own local production, but yeah, there are individual components, and it's all handicrafted. All project plans are done individually. So of course, if you're gonna send higher demand to the factories, the prices will go up. The problem also is that because of the European structural funds, the renovations have gone in waves a bit, and it needs to be more stable also, that the construction industry can increase their capacity. Otherwise they will not. They will have peak low periods where they can manage the demand. So therefore the serial refurbishment should help to put the economy scale even more up there. And at the end of the day, if this market goes up, there's a huge market potential in rest of Eastern Central Europe, where those same techniques can be also used in future.
Thank you. Going back to Alior, I'm curious, from your perspective, what was really the main barrier that the ELENA funding helped you overcome? You did mention that funds are primarily used to cover costs of documentation, maybe energy audits. Was this really a question of cost and offering some sort of a extra financial advantage to your clients, or was there something else, like what was already mentioned, simply awareness, organizing them, offering them a simplified customer journey?
I think it helped us not only to give our clients very attractive offer, because we are talking about zero interest rates. So it's really attractive, and if it becomes to the income of the bank, it's attractive as well, because we can just provide this product to the market. But ELENA funds also refund all the cost of our customers. I mean, audit costs, which is very expensive in Poland. So I think it's more than one benefit that makes that ELENA funds help us, and we were able, because of the ELENA funds, to provide this product to the Polish market. What else? I think, of course, distribution model and those experts that we are talking about, we won't be able to hire those kind of experts, the specific one, to sell the product if we won't get ELENA funds as well. We wouldn't able as well to build the structure of distribution and build the product. It all helped us. It all was because of the ELENA funds, and of course some of the help and clues that we was given from European Investment Bank. So thank you for that as well.
You're most welcome. And a final question to Jelgava, because we are running out of time. Our participants are interested to, first of all, challenge some of the numbers you gave, whether, for instance, energy efficiency of 25 to 30% is sufficiently ambitious given the poor state of the buildings you described. And this was similar to Alior asking whether there is a minimum. And similarly, in terms of the financing, if you could clarify whether the company, JNIP, takes the loans on their balance sheet, or whether it is loans taken out by the homeowners and JNIP is simply facilitating the process.
Well, you answered almost, or give me the clue of the last question answer, which is indeed the homeowners are the owners of the loans at the end, and JNIP is the facilitator, the neutral negotiator, the project manager kind of your renovation process, because they have such a they already have a relationship where they are connecting the utility bills and already doing such process. So it's also easy for them to collect those loan payments back, but the loan itself and the construction, this is owned by the homeowner association, which is a mandatory organization. And to mention the question in the context, are energy savings sufficient ambition? I would say, please talk to the national governments, which set the EPC, I think in EPC label C as the ambitions for even to 2050. And indeed, we don't think it's sufficient. We want to go higher. We want to go up to near zero energy buildings, everything by 2050. But a lot of obstacles need to overcome to manage it, because it's an expensive journey.
Thank you. At this point, we've run out of time, and I would like to thank very much our speakers today, the two projects funded by ELENA. I'm sure that the audience appreciates your intervention and the answers provided. I just want to remind everyone that the renovation wave stream on this event continues with another ELENA-funded project. It's of course, residential buildings in Barcelona. So please stay tuned. It will be a very interesting presentation. Thank you, everyone, and goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you.